I think it grows out of you.
And recording. I think your nose is one of those things that, let me get this right, stays the same size? Or is it your ears? Yeah. So here we are, Webflow for Wordpressers. About a minute to go.
Is there any way we can see if anyone's there, Mills? Yes, we can. It's just me and
And
you.
yeah, go to people.
Got it, yeah. Cool.
Everybody's probably just putting their phones on silent, getting their coffee. But if not, here we go. We'll start anyway. Should we start anyway?
Yeah, we'll go. Go for it.
Sure.
Let's
We'll
go.
go for it. So this is me and Gareth, and we are good mates, and we're going to talk a little bit about Webflow, more from a WordPress sort of angle. So Gareth's someone that has used WordPress for a long time, and that's why we've called it Webflow for Wordpressers. So like an overview of Webflow for someone who's more used to WordPress. So let's have a little intro from Gareth. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Gareth.
I will indeed. Thank you, Darren. My name is Gareth Welton. I live in the south of Norway. I'm originally from Devon in the UK. I work for a WordPress agency called Human Made, and I've worked with them for maybe about 7 years. They are well known in the WordPress world. They deal with enterprise level clients and companies. My role is global delivery lead, which means that I care for our teams across the globe. We've got 3 regions, 5 teams, so I have an oversight over all those projects. But also I dig in, quite detailed to actually the client's lifecycle, use WordPress regularly, both at work and in my personal life. So that's a little bit of background from me.
Overview. So you used to build in WordPress more than you do now. Now you're more sort of focused on dealing with clients.
So historically I was a freelancer. I used to build websites, do design, and WordPress was my go-to choice initially because it was free, essentially, and it was like profitable for me to be able to use something that got me half the way there. And then I started Human Made as a project manager, and that was caring for sizable projects with maybe maybe a team of 4 or 5 engineers, and the project might have been 6 months. Maybe a year for big clients like banks and organizations, universities. But I would still be involved, like using WordPress. Like I'd still be investigating things, helping them with content. I think, although it's not necessary now, I still like to get involved in actual web creation at work or involved with the actual tool that we use. Being familiar with it is important for communicating with clients. And also, like in my personal life, I use it as a tool for websites or friends' websites, things like that. So I am touching the user area and some basic development for WordPress.
So it's a great tool for smaller projects and for a lot of large-scale enterprise projects. Thanks, guys. A little bit about me. So I'm Webflow. I've been using Webflow since about 2018, I would say. Did a little bit of WordPress initially, but went into Webflow, and then I work with Webflow on a freelance basis, so mainly with my clients. Done some agency work, but I'm every day in Webflow, building personal projects for clients, supporting clients with their ongoing maintenance and things like that. So
you didn't like WordPress, did you?
You
didn't like it. I remember.
Probably fair to say that. I struggled with it a little bit. I found, for me at that time, it might be different now if I went into it again, but at that time I found it was a little restrictive for me. I couldn't really tell what was happening, and I felt it was a little bit too restrictive. So I like Webflow because I feel, excuse me, gives me a lot of control and I can see what I'm doing. And at the time when I was using WordPress, that just didn't seem to be the case for me.
I mean, I don't think you'd find that experience massively different now, but I am interested. So, like for context on this as well, like, I don't know Webflow.
Yeah.
I've seen some screenshots. I've never logged in. I've never used it. It's interesting to me to know what the market is offering in the terms of things like Squarespace, Wix, Webflow, page builders, because for us, the lower end market is not where we are. The small business or medium business, probably not so much either. But historically, that's where WordPress came from. Like WordPress was the blogging platform, and then it became like more advanced. Larger companies started using it. It still shakes off some of that history today. But we should, like, it teaches me not to draw your conclusions for where a product is right now and see what the potentials are going forward and seeing how things are changed around to us. It's also important to me because the WordPress world has got a very tight-knit community, and I've been working with WordPress for 15 years, and you can get very much numb to other things around you because you're living in the world and you're interested in how what your little world is developing, what's changing, and how digital transformation is affecting it around what you're doing. And you can forget to look outside and see what the competition is doing, not just in the big enterprise level, but also in these other like turnkey, I suppose, like website building tools like Webflow.
Yeah. So both great solutions. And should we have a look? Should we
Yes,
jump
please.
in? Let's jump in. So I'll open up. Let's have a look. Let's go to, and we'll just go here first of all. So we're going straight in. This is the designer, the canvas, and the tools for building your design in Webflow. So just looking at that straight away, Gaz, is there anything that you notice? Forget the actual design, but if you can see the UI, is there anything that jumps out to you as being different, as being interesting?
Like, it just looks nicer than WordPress. But that's kind of expected. Like, this is more of a finished, it looks like a designer, whereas the WordPress page builder, if you want full site editing, looks more more raw, less finished. This looks polished. Like, I can see, like, this looks like Photoshop like feel
Yeah,
to it, like in
yeah,
dark mode.
that's right.
Whereas like more modern, whereas WordPress looks like more of a tool, I guess, and more crude in some ways for design, because it's not a designer in this sort of sense. This feels like it's like a designer. That's my initial
Yeah,
impression.
that's my impression. It is a bit like design tools like Adobe, where you've got the left and right panels and then the canvas in the middle. You can actually go in and change the sort of, not go white, but you can change it to more of a grey if you don't like the stark black on the background. But I quite like it like that. So just a little overview of what there is here in the designer. So we've got sort of four elements, I suppose. We've got like the top bar, which you can see. And that's everything here from the little Webflow logo, everything there on the top bar. That is things like helping you know which mode you're in. So you can be in a design mode, or you can be in a build mode. And then you've got access to your CMS, your content management system here with all of your items. Here are where you can access things like native insights and analyzer and an optimize tool, which is fantastic. It's all on-page insights. And then we've got a preview button, which shows you what it would look like. It's not published to a live domain. It's just a preview. You can enable the nice little recent addition, bottom left, enable custom code. So any custom code you can preview it as if it's in a live environment. And then got localization. So if you're working in a different language, you might be working in English and then Norwegian, and you can just flip between the two.
Is that for that admin though, right? Just the admin areas, like the
Uh,
menu. It's not like content.
yeah, it's all the content. So like here, secure video conferencing software for compliance-driven industries. I should say
Okay.
this is not my design. This is a Webflow.
So it's like multi-language support is built in as standard.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I could flick that to another language and then it would translate it for me straight away. So that helps with designing. So you know how certain languages like German, for example, got
Yeah.
really, really long words and sometimes it's hard
Yes.
to, so that you can see exactly how it's going to look by just flicking between different locales. That's a
Okay.
great feature. This tells you where you are, what page you're on, gives you access to all the collection pages. You can just hop between the pages. This little cog here gives you on-page SEO, direct access to that. So you can deal with all your SEO settings for this page,
Yeah.
indexing, open graph, deal with all that.
Mm-hmm.
Any custom code for the page
Mm-hmm.
you don't want showing on another page, for example, that all just goes in here. And then you've got responsive mode. So
Yeah.
pretty self-explanatory. On the right-hand side, you've got good things like this is a nice feature for comment mode. So if you're working with a team or even with a client, I use this with my clients and sometimes, where you can add a comment. What do you think of this heading?
Mm.
Send it, and then they'll receive it, and then they can reply directly on the canvas. So that's a
Okay.
helpful feature rather than it being, in emails back and forth, that kind of thing.
How do you know how it behaves if you've got a lot of my questions would probably be about scalability, like
Yeah.
because what I'm living in. How does it work or function if a second person logs in and starts editing? Do you
So
know?
so you can have, you'll see it up here in the top right hand corner. You'll see the other person that has logged in. And depending on the permissions that you've set for that person, you can see what they're doing. And you can see whether they are editing, whether they are in build mode. So you can just
Yeah.
go in and check what they're doing.
So you can collaboratively work on a page
Yeah.
simultaneously at the same
Yeah.
time.
And here's a little, you can, yeah. And you can do it depending on your plan. There's different permissions for that. Enterprise projects, you're able to have lots of different people and roles working together, and you can see everybody on the page.
Yeah.
There's no issue with working on the same page and somebody changing the wording, somebody changing the button, that kind of thing. So you can all work together.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's one of my questions was about staging and production and how that's managed.
Mm. Yeah. So when you set up your workspace, you can manage your team here. And this is where you can add any team members that you want and give them permissions and different roles. So you can assign a team member as a designer, a team member as a marketer, and whatever else. And then when you get up to enterprise level, you can create your own custom roles. So somebody can be a marketer, for example, but they don't have the same roles or permissions
Yeah.
as somebody else who is a marketer. So, and a great feature which I use a lot is here. You can add agency or freelancer guests. So with my clients, they can just add me into their project as an agency, and for free, and I can just
Yeah.
work on their project within my dashboard.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Is there any built-in workflow system? So like one of the things that we deal with often is content creation, but in the sense that it's highly important. So let's say it's financial results for a large organization, or there's something controversial in the news and they need to make sure that the language is right. Are there any workflow approvals or anything built in? like these questions are tough because like in the WordPress world, the answer is always yes. And there's a feature, a plugin, or something that you could use, or you build something for it. And I
Mm.
guess with Webflow, you could always build something for it, right? But what do you get?
Yeah,
Anything
so
like
natively you can restrict whether somebody's allowed to publish. So you can change the wording in a paragraph, change some content, and then you could add in, for example, a free reviewer role. So you might have somebody at a senior position and they want to review all the content before it's published anywhere.
yeah.
That's in there. So for the whole site, for a page, for an element, a reviewer can come in and check it and approve it or ask questions on it before anything's live.
Mm, cool.
Yeah. So there's things in place to stop.
And there is there like a plugin like Universe for it? Like I saw the marketplace earlier.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you can now, fairly recent, you can start to add apps into Webflow.
Right.
It's a bit
Okay.
like the iOS store, the Apple store, in that they're all approved and they have to go through a process to be approved. But yeah, there's loads of apps. You can just add in all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff.
This is interesting. So no one can just you can't just create. I mean, you could create an app, but it wouldn't be available.
Yeah, it has to be approved by Webflow. So
To
you
appear there, could you make one and make it available on your own website?
yeah,
So I could make a permissions app, put it on my website, Gareth's permissions, and then people could download it and use it if they wanted to at their own risk.
yeah. I haven't got that much experience with the marketplace, but I know it's quite common to build your own, publish them to the website, to the marketplace, sorry, and then allow people to download them from and add them to their project.
Even without them being approved, or would they have to still be approved?
I think they have to be approved,
Still have to
but
be approved. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
that you could double check that, but yeah, I think there's an
Yeah,
approval
okay.
system. So
Cool.
that's good, and that's really helpful. To add in lots of different extensions like Make, popular extensions to Webflow.
What is that one make?
Make is it's a bit like Zapier,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that kind
Okay.
of yeah. So you can
It
connect.
integrates things. Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's it. So you can use that, or you can use the Webflow API, and add apps as well, and that way.
Cool.
That's
All right. So I derailed you then off the.
a little bit. This is live.
Yeah.
Yeah, another a great thing for when you're collaborating and working in teams, especially I suppose if you're a larger organization, you might have multiple websites for different solutions. To keep everything consistent, a great feature is libraries. So you can create a library in one project, get everything looking consistent, and then you can just share that with your whole workspace. So that then whatever project is created in that workspace, you can just grab the same components from that library and everything, looks with consistency. So that's a great feature for larger teams as well.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Because I've got a question about that as well. So a library. So in WordPress, you have basically patterns and block patterns and blocks. So with the library, can you have like essentially a chunk of a page?
Mm-hmm.
And like that becomes a library item. So what's the individual item called? What's the
Like an
terminology?
element.
An element. Okay, so
Element.
you've got a title element there, I guess.
Yeah,
And
this is the
that
H1.
could be so you could combine, I don't know, a hero image with your title element and a call to action button, and that could be combined together to a library,
Yeah,
or would you
that's it. Exactly. Yeah. So what you would do, you'd get something like the H1. This is a common practice. H1, the button, maybe a paragraph, and you create what's called a component. So you put them together as a
yeah,
component,
yeah,
group it, and that you can use that easily across different pages, have multiple instances of that component. That component can then go into a library. So like you can see here, look, 38 components, and then all
yeah.
these different variants of a component. So yeah, create a button component, a heading component, even though it's pretty much a single element, you can create it and share it as
Yes.
across a library.
This is all interesting because this is stuff like that's fairly recent in WordPress and even in the WordPress core team. Looking at these things like collaborative editing is one of the things that talked about in recent times. With this, with these elements, do you have the feature set? So let's say I create an element and it is um, maybe it's a little bit of legalese. It's a bit of legal information about the website, and it needs to be on a whole bunch of pages.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, what I don't want to do, because like let's say I've got a website with 10,000 pages. What I don't want to do is have to go into 10,000 pages and edit it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an element where it's like global element where I update the element and it updates everywhere it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
So
that how they work as default?
yeah, well, sorry, say that again.
Is that how they work as default, or is that like just an option?
Um, so you can create that. So it doesn't. If you add an element, it's not going to appear automatically on every page. You can create it's with the components. So, for example, here in this project, we've got global styles. So this is some custom code, and I want this to be on every page, but I don't want to have to edit it for 1,000 pages. So I can write all my code in here, save it in this component,
Yeah.
and then whichever page I add that to, that code will run on that page. But I only need to go into one page, edit the code, and then it'll edit it for the whole project, for the whole 1,000
Right.
pages.
Yeah, because so it's like a global element, and you change it here, it changes it everywhere.
Yeah,
Can I then go into an individual page and say, "Hey, I know you are that element, but can you ignore that now, and can you be unique?"
yeah,
So like, there's only 3 pages of the 10,000, and I want to say something different. Is
yeah,
that also doable?
yeah. So you can create a variant of the component.
Yeah, still get
Uh,
variants. Yeah,
yeah. So once you're inside the component like this, on the right-hand side, this is the style panel. This is where all the CSS is written.
yeah.
And you can create a component variant. So this is like base, and you might want to say this is sort of
Second,
secondary.
yeah.
Excuse me. Create your styles for that, and then that becomes its own variant of the main component. And then whichever page you go into with that component, you can just then flick between the base and the secondary like that.
Hmm.
So you can adjust it.
Very cool. And these are things like like we have been custom building for clients in the last like 5 years, but now like they're out of the box sort of things that you
Yeah.
get. Um, so yeah, Webflow is pretty mature, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And with the components, they're custom components. So you can build them exactly to the specification of your client, to the brand, to what they need. For example, here we can see in this project, we've got all these different form elements,
Yeah.
and you can create these to suit the need of the project. And then they become components, and you can just reuse them. And just lost my train of thought then.
Well,
But,
I'll
so,
grab that then. Can I throw you a curveball question to finish up on?
go on then.
Um, and we kind of work in a little bit different worlds, probably like with the scales we're
Yeah.
dealing with. But what limitations? Because one of the benefits of WordPress is like fairly limitless for both in a good way and in a terrible way as to what you can do. What are the boundaries that you're hitting, or what are the limits that you're facing with it?
I mean, design wise, for example, there's not really any limits. You can design however you want. This is the web. So you're writing in HTML, styling in CSS. So you can just design and make it look however you want, really. The limitations come mainly with things like the CMS. So with a lot of projects, you're limited to the number of CMS collections you can have, the number of items. I think it's currently is it 10,000 items? I think might be
Right.
sort of a limit with the collection items. And so that can be a limiting factor. So what I often say is, if you've got a project that is going to be a huge blog, an editorial site or something, and it's going to require lots and lots and lots of collections, then you can build front end in Webflow and use an external headless CMS like Airtable or something else, and then just connect them together that way. Or WordPress might be the ideal solution for that situation. But as regards limitations, that's where most people are finding that's probably the most common limitation at the moment. And I know they're
Is that
working on it.
so that's actually like a performance limitation, really, like it's a database performance limitation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And what about um but if you want to add, like, if you want to use libraries, if you want to use like some cool CSS library thing, you can just pull those in.
yeah. If you want to add, um, like, you thinking sort of animations and that kind of thing,
Yeah,
or
I couldn't remember the name. I'm thinking of like a drawing. We used like a nice sketchy drawing,
yeah,
CSS like animation thing, and we added the library to like just add the library, and then we could use it and utilize it. And it was quite lightweight. So
yeah,
those things you can just do that. You can add because you essentially you can access the code, so you can do what you
yeah,
want, right?
mhm, yeah. So you can, as we went earlier to the App Store, there's lots of apps that allow you to create SVGs, custom SVGs, and all kinds of things. That's quite a good one. That's importing SVGs, but you can create any kind of image that you want to. But also, when it comes to animations, interactions, there's native animations within Webflow. You don't need to add in another library. Previously, you had to, if you wanted to use something like GSAP, which is a
Yeah,
common JavaScript animation library, you had to connect it, add it in. But now it's all native in Webflow.
yeah.
So you've got here in this project, bottom right-hand corner, interactions with GSAP,
Hmm.
and then you can just select your element, you get a timeline, and you can just add in all kinds of different animations, whatever you want to, and SVGs. Because with GSAP, you can do all kinds of things, can't you?
Yeah, sounds like it. I don't know.
I haven't used it a great deal, but from the things
Yeah.
I've seen, yeah, there's loads you can do.
Is that the Google? Who does that GSAP?
It's GreenSock,
Oh, okay.
company called GreenSock. Yeah,
Oh,
GreenSock
nice.
animation something. I looked at it earlier, forgotten now. But yeah, so you can fantastic animations and interactions, and it's a lot more simple now to use that in Webflow now that it's native and free.
Yeah.
Guys, that's been good. Nice intro.
Yeah, thanks. I got lots more questions, but we should probably round it off now. Um, I like my initial impressions are because I didn't look like we said like I'm not going to
Yeah.
look. I'm not looking at it. It's a lot more mature than like Wix type things I looked at a few years ago. Um, it looks very nice, like it's pleasant. Looks like it's pleasant to use. Feels like it's built for you to have everything in one place, which is really lovely. And I think that's probably like the win and the loss at the same time. Like everything's there, and they've tried to expose a lot of things. But I like for me the only limitation would be well, not the only, but one of the key limitations is you're kind of in the Webflow world. Like if I want to export that,
Mm.
then I've got no alternative, right? There's not another Webflow hosting. Did they ever talk about that? There's not an alternative like Webflow host I could move to,
I mean,
or
you can host wherever you want. You can export the code and then host it on Netlify or some other
can
company.
you?
You can,
So
yeah.
so you can create like a box, like a Webflow box. Can you like? Is it available? Like the source code, I suppose.
You can export the code. I'll just show you if this is
So
what you're meaning.
I'm thinking, okay, I've fallen out with Webflow, right, for
Right. Yeah.
some legal reason, or
Never
they
going
don't
to happen.
have something,
But yeah.
and I want to host it. There may be some like legal constraint. Like here's an example. We've got a client in the US because of stringent rules. They have to like it has to be physically in the US, so it has to be
Yeah.
on the server in the US. And let's say Webflow didn't have that, or another country, right? I didn't have that. Could I? Can I rip it out? Can I host it and dump it somewhere else?
Yeah. Yeah. You can do that. So you can extract it. You do lose some of the functionality, which
Yeah,
is sadly the case at the moment. But yeah, you can extract it and then host it wherever you need to. Germany, for example, it's all hosted in America anyway, so that causes some problems for some people. But
yeah,
yeah, you can do that. Yeah. So here's the code. You can just see it all, everything, and this is all
right.
being written as you design. So you can just prepare a zip and yeah, extract it.
And then I've got then so then I what I'm assuming is I've got my website, but I can't then log in and edit it. Like it's probably like a static version. So I've saved my digital asset, but
Yeah.
it's not. I don't have Webflow's.
The UI or anything. Yeah, you use another
Yeah,
code editor. Yeah.
I mean that is what that is. It's limitation, but um that's also why it can be these other things
Mm.
because you just couldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good
All
stuff.
right.
Save your questions for
Okay, yeah, I do more
the
questions.
next
Save
one.
this time next time.
I know all the other questions that we've got in the chat. And we'll take a note of all the questions and we'll answer them in the next live stream. Thanks everyone for joining. It's been good fun.
Overwhelmed.
Thanks, Gaz.
All
Enjoy
right,
the
thanks.
rest of your day.
Thanks, man. Take
See you
care.
later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
Bye.
bye.